Okay, so did you all come up with these three? Do they look like this? Yeah. Okay, so now let's calculate formal charge. Formal charge is equal to the number of valence electrons minus 1/2 the bonding electrons minus your non-bonding electrons. So let's look at the first one. Let's look at nitrogen. How many valence electrons does nitrogen have? 5. So I've got 5 minus 1/2 the bonding electrons. 1/2 of a single bond is what? How many electrons are in a single bond? 2. So 1/2 of it is 1. So 5 minus 1 minus my non-bonding electrons. 2, 4, 6. Minus 6. So 5 minus 1 is 4 minus 6. That's a 2 minus. Does that make sense how I got that? Then I'm going to come over to carbon. Carbon has how many electrons? 4 minus 1/2 the bonding electrons. So it's got 2, 4, 6, 8 bonding electrons. 1/2 that is 4. So 4 minus 4 is 0. Then I have to look at the sulfur. Sulfur has how many valence electrons? 6 minus 1/2 my bonding electrons, 2, 4, 6. That would be minus 3. And then I have non-bonding, I have 2. So basically that's 6 minus 5. So I have a plus 1 here. A 2 minus plus a 1 plus gives me an overall 1 minus charge, which matches my charge of my polyatomic ion. Notice when I'm doing an ion, and we've done this before, we bracket them and give charge. Now I want you to figure out the formal charge on 2 and 3 and see what you come up with. When you have the formal charge on both 2 and 3, stand up. Okay, let's look at these. Haley, what did you find the formal charge to be on number 2?
1 minus.
1 minus. Anybody get something different? Your total formal charge? Okay, we need to look at this. So nitrogen here is 5 minus half the bonding pairs, which would be 2, minus non-bonding electrons, which would be 4. So here, this is a 1 minus, yes? Carbon, again, is 4 minus 4, which is a 0. Sulfur is what? 6 minus 2 minus 4, which is a 0. Yeah, so is it 1 minus? Okay, so then let's look at this last one. Interesting. We again have 5 minus 3 minus 2, so I've got a what there? A 0. Carbon, I've got, again, this one doesn't change, 4 minus 4, so I've got a 0. Sulfur, I've got 6 minus 1 minus 6, so that's a 1 minus, so overall I have another charge of 1 minus. That doesn't help us a whole lot, does it? Now how am I going to figure out what's the dominant structure? I'm going to have to look at what? Electronegativity and where my charges are. So when I look at these three things, which one is the most electronegative? My nitrogen is most electronegative, more so than S or C. So any formal charge should be on nitrogen. And the formal charge wants to be closest to the charge of the ion. So when I look at that, well, when you look at that, what do you figure out? Which one should be the dominant? What do you think? And where is my nitrogen the closest to the formal or to the charge of the polyatomic ion? Which one? Yes, it is my second Lewis structure. That is my dominant. It had the charge of 1 minus. In the first one we had a 2 minus charge, and in the last one you had a 0 charge. Questions? Okay, so let's look at this for just a minute. Your learning objectives or your I can statements. Go through that, read through that, and see where you're at with that. Obviously, we can determine the number of valence electrons. You know the octet rule. You can describe your different types of bonds, covalent versus ionic. You know your double, triple, single bonds. You can use electronegativity. We've done that before. You should still remember the trend and the pattern. Polarities, we've done that. Remember doing that where you had to do the subtraction with the electronegativities and then your electronegativity drawings. Number 9 is yet to come. You should be able to do number 10 and 11. 12 and 13 are yet to come. We will cover 9 tomorrow and talk about it a little bit more. What I want you to do now, a couple of things.